Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us as we embark on this new journey together. Tonight, we will discuss membership in Demoiselle Noire, a new youth organization here in South Florida, specifically created to help young girls of color improve their mental health and wellness. We're going to start tonight with introductions and an overview of what La Femme Noire Collective, the overall organization, is. So my name is Tracy Seabrook. I am one of the founders and current president of La Femme Noire Collective Incorporated. Demoiselle Noire is the youth auxiliary of La Femme Noire Collective Incorporated. La Femme Noire Collective Incorporated was founded in May of 2022 as a multi-ethnic nonprofit organization with the purpose of maximizing awareness and promoting emotional and mental healing in women of color. We do this by providing webinars and events focusing on topics such as therapy, self-awareness, coping skills, and self-care. Best of all, we provide this while creating a social outlet for our members. In that, part of our organization is to reach out to our youth as well. And so that's where the idea of Demoiselle Noire comes from. So we'll get into a little bit of the overview of what Demoiselle Noire is. So Demoiselle Noire was actually established this year. So the group coming in this year will be our inaugural group. And this is the 2023-2024 membership overview. So a little about the organization. So the bylaws of La Femme Noire Collective actually includes Demoiselle Noire as a part of the organization. So it is actually included in our bylaws. And it is an organization for girls ages or grades 8 through 12. So we're targeting girls who are now in grades 7 through 11, because this organization will actually start at the beginning of next school year. So girls who will be in the 8th through 12th grade next school year. So a little bit about the etymology of Demoiselle Noire, and that's how it is pronounced, Demoiselle Noire. It comes from the French term for young lady. Noir translates into black, so it's the French for the term black. So the rough translation of Demoiselle Noire is just the young black lady, right? So that's where we're hoping to encourage our young black ladies into being young ladies who just happen to be black. The purpose of this organization will be to encourage a balance between high scholastic achievement, strong interpersonal connections, healthy relationship skills, and a strong sense of self-worth, self-esteem, and self-love in teenage girls. Although we do have high scholastic achievement in the purpose, we'll talk a little bit about that later, because we do not want to make it seem as though if you don't have the highest grades now, then you're not eligible to become a member, because that is not true. That is not what Demoiselle Noire is about. It's about helping you become your best self. So don't worry if you don't have the best grades yet. What we want you to do is we want to help you work on yourself and help build those skills in you so that you're able to become the best version of you. The motto of Demoiselle Noire is to emerge enlightened. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. The colors of the organization are black, white, and pink. And the symbol is the pink lotus. So a little bit about the overall organization, La Femme Noire Collective. Our organization's symbol is the dahlia. And that is because the dahlia symbolizes strength, right? Just like the dahlia symbolizing strength for our older organization, the pink lotus has a little bit of symbolism in that as well. So a little background into what the pink lotus is. It's a flower that actually sinks into the mud at night. And then when the sun comes up in the morning, the flower actually reemerges from the soil, but it's not stained. right? Which I think is awesome. And think about that as you as a person. It doesn't matter what you go through in your life and how much drama and strife and mud people may throw on you during the day. You may sink into the mud throughout the day, but the next morning you can always reemerge clean, right? So we pick that as a symbol of the organization because we want you all to remember that no matter what you all go through or can experience during one day, every day is a new day, right? So everything about this organization is about being able to wake up every day being the better version of yourself. All right. So what makes Demoiselle Noire different from other youth groups? Because here in South Florida, there's lots of different organizations that you can be a member of. And it doesn't actually mean that just because you're a member of a different organization, you can't be a member of this one. Or if you're a member of this one, you cannot be a member of a different organization because the purposes of the organizations are different. So here in Demoiselle Noire, we believe in prioritizing the youth's mental health. And that's a little bit of what makes us different from a lot of the different youth groups that you may see around here. A lot of the youth groups you see may have a large focus on community service, which is fine because we also know that your community service is required for graduation. And it's a great thing to be of service to your community. However, we want you to become the best version of yourself, right? And so a lot of times we're stressed out as far as making sure we have good grades, making sure we're participating in all of our organizations, making sure that we're the best sister, brother, son, or daughter, right? And so we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And we want you to learn these skills super early. So although we want you to participate in your community, we want you to build skills to make you a good person in general. Next, we believe that promoting mental wellness in all girls who struggle. We believe that by promoting mental wellness in all girls, those who may struggle can thrive. So that goes back to when I was talking about your scholastic achievement a little bit earlier. So I feel like if we focus on your mental wellness and we help you get some of those organizational skills and build up your self-confidence, and you're able to kind of goal set and see what you want your future to be, and you can get excited about your future and you know what it is that you're working for, we can help you get motivated and get back motivated into getting the best grades you can. And instead of being frustrated by the things you can't do, you're going to build upon your strengths to help pick up in those areas that you don't do so great in, because we don't do great in all things. And we want you to know that it's okay that we don't do great in all things. We want to build the skills in the areas that you do well in, and we want to focus on and figure out what those things are, because everybody does well at something. Next, we want to make sure you understand that we believe that giving girls these skills, which are our mental health and our coping skills, will help improve academically, build healthy relationships with family, friends, and others within their communities, and learn more about themselves in order to become more self-aware and build their self-esteem. So oftentimes we have this misconception that you'll become a better person first, later, by doing all of these things for other people, right? In Demoiselle Noire, we feel like we want to flip that on its head, right? We want to flip that upside down. We want to build you first because we want you to be able to understand who you are, what your likes are, what your interests are, what your strengths are, how to communicate those things to other people so that you can learn how to be the best sister, the best daughter, the best student, the best dancer, the best cheerleader, the best servant of your community. What types of things do you like? Because sometimes we're stuck in activities we don't even like to do, and we're doing them because other people told us to do them, but we don't even have the communication skills to let other people know that this isn't really what we like to do. How do we navigate having really good friendships or acquaintances? do we know the difference? So we're going to work through those things too. How do we assert ourselves, right? So how do we make sure that we're telling our friends and we're able to dissent and have healthy conversations with people and let people know when we disagree with them in a healthy way, and have good conflict resolution and be able to have good boundaries, right? And so we're going to work on those skills as well in this organization. And we believe that anyone who decides to join this organization can and will emerge enlightened, which is the motto of the organization. Demoiselle Noire, we've broken down into 5 pillars, and you may have seen it on the logo. So the 5 pillars of Demoiselle Noire include scholarship. So we're going to work on developing skills that are needed to improve scholastic and vocational achievement. So we're talking about organizational skills, time management, goal setting, and planning. So these are skills that you need to just be a really good functional person academically or vocationally. So it doesn't matter if you're going to college or if you're going into some kind of vocational program, or if you want to be a blogger or you want to start your own business. These are the skills that you are going to need to push forward and be a productive person in the future, right? That's what we mean by scholarship. Next is kinship, which is the relationships you have with the people in your family. What is your relationship like with your siblings, your cousins, your grandparents, your parents, your elders, your aunts, your aunties, and your uncles, right? So it improves the skills needed to appropriately communicate with family members, how to show respect for parents and elders while setting healthy personal boundaries, right? So building into those more so adulting skills, even though we're kind of kids, how do we let parents know, Mom, I don't kind of don't like doing that, but being respectful when we do it. Friendship. So we're understanding what are the qualities of a good friend, because sometimes we have people who we think are friends and then we find out that they're not necessarily good friends, or are we being the best friend to other people, right? So we're going to talk about the differences between friends, acquaintances, frenemies, because sometimes we have frenemies, and good conflict resolution skills. Next, we have relationships. So understanding romantic relationships. So dating versus relationships. What is the difference? Because a lot of people don't understand the difference. Selecting good partners, and these are for some of our older girls. Being able to identify a healthy relationship versus what's a toxic relationship. And setting and enforcing really good boundaries, because sometimes in relationships, people don't understand how to enforce these boundaries. We think these are really good skills to learn while we're younger. So when you start to go off into the world and we send you off into college and into adulthood, you already have these skills, so that you don't have to learn them once you're already in the thick of it. You kind of have an understanding of it as you're getting into these things. And then the last pillar is self-awareness. And it's not the last, it's kind of one of the first ones we're going to work on, which would be self-awareness and identifying things that you like and dislike. And it seems simple, but it's something that a lot of people don't take a lot of time to just sit and think about things they truly like and things they don't like. What are your core values? The difference between being alone and being lonely. Self-care. I know we have a lot of kids now are into TikTok, so you may have heard of concepts such as romanticizing your life and the soft girl aesthetic. So we'll get into all of that under self-awareness and self-love, right? So those are the 5 pillars that we will work through in Demoiselle Noire. And then next, we just have the year at a glance, just to give you a little overview of what we might be looking for in the 2023-2024 year. So we're starting with today, which is our interest meeting. And then we're looking to have our Lotus Blossom, which will be our new member installation. So this will be something that happens annually. We'll take in our new members every year, and that is what we'll call a Lotus Blossom. And then we'll join back up in September when we kick things off. So for our organization members, which we will refer to ourselves as the Lotuses, right? Our focus for the month will be on organization, planning, and goal setting. So as the members of La Femme Noire Collective, we will be meeting with you all and working on those types of skills. It's the best time of the year to do it, right at the beginning of school year, to get you set up to have a really good school year, right? And then we're going to plan to have a workshop so you can invite your friends who may not be members of Demoiselle Noire. That's fine. We have events that are scheduled for people who are not members, and they don't have to be girls because these are things that would be beneficial to everybody. So we're going to have BTS, or Back to School, Setting Up for Success, which will be Saturday, September 9th, which will give some back to school tips. And again, we'll still be focusing on organizing, planning, and goal setting. In October, we won't have a large community event, but we will still have a monthly topic or theme. And our theme for that month will be setting realistic expectations. So although we have our plans and our goals, we'll move forward in there and start talking about how to make sure that those goals that we set are things that are realistic, right? Because sometimes we have big goals, and with the things and tools we have now, are we able to realistically meet those goals, or do we have to set our goals back, or do we need to push our goals a little bit further, right? So do we need to change the goal, or do we need to move our timeline, right? So we'll talk about setting realistic expectations. November, we'll talk about gratitude. It's a great time because around Thanksgiving, that's when we get into gratitude and being thankful for things. And so our theme for the month is friendship. And we'll do an event called That's What Friends Are For. And so that's something what we could do where we kind of bring in our friends that may not be members of the organization. And we'll talk about what makes a good friend, right? December, we will not have a community event, but our theme within the organization will be conflict resolution. So we'll keep with that theme of friendship and talk about how do we resolve conflicts between our friends. January, we come back and we'll start talking about self-care. And this is where things align with the larger organization, with La Femme Noire Collective. We'll do a little bit about Soft Life 101 and self-care. With La Femme Noire Collective, we always like to do our vision board party. So we'll have a vision board party in January 2024. February 2024, we'll talk about setting boundaries, and so that gets into relationships. We'll also do a community event in that as well, where we'll talk about Enchanted. So think about we're in the month of February, and so we'll talk about creating healthy relationship habits. March, we will not do a community event, but we'll get into leadership skills, right? And so that's more about self-awareness and getting to know what your leadership type is and how you step out away from the crowd. April, we'll continue that, and we'll talk about mental health crisis, because a lot of times we don't actually get into what it's like to be in a mental health crisis, or what it's like when we have friends who are in a mental health crisis and what we should do in those situations. So we'll talk a little bit about that and give you some skills and tools to work through those situations. And then in May, we will be finishing and wrapping up our first year, and we'll talk about effective communication. And we'll do that because that helps us have conversations with our moms. In May, we have Mother's Day. And so we'll do that with a event we're going to call Que Sera Sera. And that will be a mother-daughter brunch event. And so sometimes it's just good to have a good mother-daughter day, kick back and have a brunch vibe, right? And so we're going to do that. And that is what the year in Demoiselle Noire will look like. So it's nothing too stressful. It will be fun, and you will be learning some skills that are just life skills. They're not going to be anything too deep. So I hope that kind of gives you an overview of what it is that you have to look forward to. And with that, we're going to wrap up this informational session. If you have any questions, or if you actually are like, I'm sold on Demoiselle Noire, I want to join, and you want the membership application, please make sure to contact us. You can send us an email at lafnc22@gmail.com, and you can say, attention, Demoiselle Noire. And so that I know that I just need to send you an email and I will send you an application back, right? So with that, we are going to end our session. I hope to hear from you soon. I believe this is going to be an amazing journey, and I hope that you are looking forward to building and becoming your best self just as much as I'm looking forward to see you all become your best self. With that, we're going to close. Good night.